An insecure Chinese American teenager undergoes experimental surgery to appear white, hoping to secure the prom queen title and peer acceptance. Slanted is that gal. You better book your tickets, friends and lovers. Amy, Wang, thank you so much, and welcome to the For Your Reference podcast.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Uh, Before we dive into the transracialness of it all, I just want to start off by saying congratulations. It's also been really nice watching all of the press for this film, but congratulations on winning Best Narrative Feature at 2025 South by Southwest.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was very unexpected. I hope my acceptance speech never sees the light of day because it's embarrassing with me swearing for, 2 minutes.
Very on brand.
But yes, yes, but very,
Ethnically and white Australianly, it's very on
I know,
brand.
I know, I know. I sometimes feel bad when I'm in American meetings because nobody swears like we do.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, it's really hard, but it's been great.
It's an art form. Well, I will say congratulations on your fucking feature film.
Yes, totally, totally. Yes.
It was so interesting because the film is based in America, but you grew up in Australia. I grew up in Western Sydney, represent. Um,
Nice.
I
Nice.
yes. So, we really
Whereabouts in
are
Western Sydney?
Blacktown, where Tony Collette
Oh,
is. Two
nice.
legends. Two legends.
Yes. Very cool. I love it.
Blacktown Girls High School. If we
Oh,
want to be
wow.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I I guess I can understand a little
Hmm.
bit about the identity of it. I didn't necessarily have I want to wake up and I want to be white. I think I was busy fighting my own
Yeah.
cultural, I had my own demons essentially, Amy, that I was fighting at the time. But you've mentioned in interviews how you're like, man, life would be so much easier if I was white. It would be unsavory.
Yeah. Yes.
There'll be a little
Totally,
less
totally.
flavor. But I guess
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
love to
yeah.
hear a little bit about that. Obviously, I know you've answered this quite a few
No, yeah,
times, but
yeah.
from Sydney gals to Sydney gals, let's get into
Totally. It feels different. Yeah, it feels different talking to another Aussie about it. But yeah, like I think part of it was because I wasn't born in Australia. I was born in China.
it.
And I moved over when I was about 7. So that was kind of such a big culture shock for me, and it's very similar in Slanted because it's the same thing, with
Mhm.
our main character. And to me, I was just kind of bombarded with Western culture and what I needed to shed. I also started working really early because I wanted to make money to buy CDs when I was a teenager. So I started working at Target. Target was my first job when I was like 14 and 10 months or whatever the legal age was to
Mhm.
to start work. And I feel like I worked at Target, I worked at David Jones, and then best job ever, worked at Blockbuster Video. But they're all retail jobs, and I had to talk to a lot of white Australians and serve a lot of white Australians. And oh my God, like every single week, I would have multiple people be like, "Wow, you speak English without an accent," or
Yeah.
"Wow, like where are you from? Like how long have you been in Australia?" And it just made me from, you know, my very informative teen years kind of realize, oh, it didn't matter if I spoke English with the most Australian accent or whatever, I would always be seen as not one of you.
Hmm.
Um, so that kind of it just, there were definitely a couple of times throughout my life growing up in Sydney where like things were thrown at me, people pushed me and said some way harsher things than that. But I think just the consistency of that feedback
Hmm.
caused me to really, just really grapple with this idea of no matter what I do, I'm just going to be different. And I don't
Yeah.
want to be different. I want to be cool. I want to be a surfy blonde girl, who can afford to like buy Billabong and Roxy because those were like the cool brands when I was
Yeah.
growing up. And
Quicksilver, probably
yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite
yeah,
colors. Yeah.
totally. Yeah, yeah. And there were a lot of clothes. I mean, they were expensive as well. So like, it just all of those things caused me to think that to wake up and think, man, wouldn't life just be easier if I was just white? I wouldn't have to
Yeah.
face all of this.
Yeah, and then I think it becomes like without getting too like in the trenches ready to fight the picket lines. But it does become a
Yes.
systemic sort of conversation. And I guess even like obviously growing up in Western Sydney definitely had a lot of we're all poor, so I don't know why the white people
Yeah.
like they're all in the same we're all in the same shitty boat with holes. But anyway,
Right,
um,
right,
but like on a lighter sort of note, like my name's Katea. Like sometimes people say
right.
Katea. And it becomes such a woo-woo conversation of like, you need to own your name. And it's like, no, because it becomes a cookie for you. It becomes a competition.
Yeah,
Like, I know who I am at the end of the day.
totally,
If you want to buy
totally.
my life right, Jamie, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Hey, maybe.
But this
But
film
yeah, I feel that.
felt, yeah, but this film felt like a personal sort of catharsis. The author R.F. Kuang, Yellowface, came to
Hmm.
mind when I was watching this
Mm.
film, as well as Cord Jefferson's American Fiction.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
we recently did a foray into Spike Lee, like a Spike Lee retrospective on the
Nice.
podcast. So Bamboozled, just like
Yes.
what's all this shit you expect from me? I'm just gonna put it down all on
No,
the
that's
paper.
exactly. Yes, yes. And you're actually the first person who has mentioned Bamboozled and American Fiction, both of which I did watch when
She
I
watches
was,
film, friends
yeah.
and others. She
Yeah.
analyzes structure and themes.
That I watched when I was writing the script. I watched a
Oh
lot
wow.
of satire. Yeah. I watched one of my favorites was Sick of Myself by this great filmmaker. I can't remember his name. Christoph, I think something. But he had directed Dream Scenario as well.
Borgley, we interviewed
I'm
him on the podcast. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah, for
God.
Dream
I'm so sorry
Scenario.
if I butchered his name. But I'm a huge fan of his. I think both of his films. I think he's only done two features so far. Are incredible, and he's very great at balancing tone. Because
Hmm.
Dream Scenario is at the same time a nightmare and a satire, and something that I tried to balance and Slanted.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, was that your question? Like, kind of, what were the things
Yeah,
that influenced
absolutely.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
And there
talked
was a
about Boots Riley, Sorry to Bother You.
yes,
I just kind of
yes,
think of the horse dick men, but that might just say more about me.
yes.
That might
Oh
just
my
say more about
gosh.
me.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy left turn. Yeah.
And then also Get Out, because when we were watching the screener with
Yes.
OT, I was like, this is like if you took the wrong lesson out of Get Out. It's like, no, girl, you're in danger.
Totally.
Other
Yes,
way.
yes,
Um,
yes, totally.
and it's
Especially that,
interesting.
yeah.
Sorry, it's
So go ahead. Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
because I would say it's utilizing genre, but you talk about
Yes.
hiding the genre, like I guess like hiding the vegetables, which I thought was actually quite interesting. But I guess it's trying to
Yeah.
be accessible and bring people in. Sinners right now is, I guess, masquerading as a
Yes.
horror, but it's way more than that. And
Yes.
Slanted is so much more than that.
Yes.
But I appreciate the sentiment of hiding it, but I think I would also say sci-fi and horror are kind of a way to
Yes.
elevate and illustrate this is the shit that's always been there, guys. You just need an alien
Yes.
to be able to understand it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And you mentioning Get Out is like the perfect example of hiding, right? What Jordan Peele was really trying to say about race within, yeah, a horror comedy. And that's kind of, yeah, what I wanted to do because I felt like if I just did a straight drama, I think it would have been more difficult for audiences to swallow because I think it would have felt more like, oh, it's preachy or you're hitting us over the heads. Um, so I wanted to add those elements to, yeah, to make it more entertaining and interesting.
I'm sorry that this turned into a film club. I feel like I could geek out films with you. But
No, I love that.
going back to the film Slanted, there's obviously, the really fun sort of genre that you can play with it and have fun with it. But I got
Hmm.
emotional a couple of times watching this film. And
Yeah.
it had to do with the parents. And I don't like to mention the
Yes.
lines too much, but the mum said a couple of things that I was like, oh, I don't even know if this is a therapy. And it's like you're speaking to yourself, I'm speaking to myself as if I'm parenting myself. But
Yes.
the one line that I will share is the dad, because they obviously have a close bond, but he talked about the grandma and living on your face. And I'm actually named after
Yes.
my dad's mum. And I think that's also why I was like,
Oh, wow.
fuck, man. I was like, this is heavy,
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's that was again an added layer of something to balance, right? Because it was supposed to be satirical and funny, also horrific with the
Mhm.
body horror, but also I really wanted the family story to be grounded and to be emotional. And the amount of, I mean, you included the amount of outpouring like on Letterboxd, and like when I was walking from the premiere at South by to our after party, and like multiple people stopped in the streets, people of color, and told me how much they related to the family and to this idea of shame, and their tears in their eyes. It was the absolute best feeling in the world. And yeah, like that's all I want when I make a movie, is to make people feel like they're not alone.
Well, I love a good cry. That's kind of where I feel like I love grounded sort of film. So I'll always find a way to ground something, even if it's like all the way
Yeah.
up in space. But I guess like having a little bit of fun with it. There was a Michael Bublé reference. I'm not going to take the punchline away, but I just
Yes.
know, Amy, because the way that we're vibing now, I know there was a white people, am I right? Cutting room floor. Um,
Yeah.
I would love to, like, if you just have it a few, if you like, just to rattle off of like quintessential white, like sort of references or that might have fit in that line instead of Michael
Oh
Bublé.
gosh. There were, okay, that line, I feel like there weren't many alts for that particular line, but there were a lot of alts for the testimonials that were playing on the
Ah,
TV.
yes.
Yeah, so there were a lot of I mean, oh my gosh, I kind of remember now. Like I like reached out to a lot of my like writer friends as well to kind of be like, okay, let's do some joke pitches. Like one of the testimonials I made into the movie was my producer's ex-girlfriend's pitch, because she was a black woman, and she was like, okay, well, I don't want to spoil the joke, but yeah, it had to do with NBA players.
Yeah.
But there were a lot, but I can't think of any on top of my head right now, but there were a
Hmm.
lot. There were a lot with the testimonials that
That's okay.
I wish we had more time for. Yeah.
If I can indulge myself very quickly, one of my first jobs was at a stock and station agents. I don't know if that
Oh
travels
wow.
outside of Australia. I know it was a not-for-profit, and it was
Yeah.
winter. It gets cold in Sydney, friends and lovers. So I was wearing a beanie. And there were like a group of old middle-aged like stock and station agents that came to the office, and one of them very nicely, I guess if that helps, walked up to me and said, "Hi, I respect your religious covering." Like, it's a fucking
Oh
beanie,
man.
bro.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous,
You
man.
can't just have a cute moment when you're not there.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. It's always something, I feel like, right, that they'll find, or I don't know, uh pinpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, this is exotic. It's
I'm
like,
sorry
no,
that
it's not.
happened.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry that
yeah.
happened to you, but without the horse sticks,
Yes.
unfortunately. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, Amy. I know I took
Of
a little bit
course.
extra of your time. I'll meet you at the White People Am
No.
I Right meeting next month.
Yes.
I want to wrap up with
Yes.
our final question. So we finish our reviews with a recommendation. So what would you pair with Slanted as a double feature?
Oh man. Great question. Gosh, okay, one of my favorite satires that I discovered when I was researching was Being There. This
Mhm.
movie I think was in the 70s. Um it's got Peter Sellers, I believe, as the lead. And it's a fantastic satire. I don't even want to ruin what it's about, but I feel like that would pair pretty well. with Slanted.
I think we pair very well, but that might just be me, Amy. Thank you so much
No,
for your time.
I agree. Of course. Thank you for having me.